You can stay in your delusion. You can stay in your crib. You can stay in your feedback. You can stay beyond your welcome. You can stay. Go out back, find the alligator. Go out front with the machine gun. Tell everyone how nice they are. I don't know you, not anymore. I don't know you, not anymore. 'Cause when I asked you, everything was fine. When I asked you, all was divine.
Irrational, repetitious.
You're deluded, deluded. You're deluded. You're deluded. I would like to know what went wrong back then. Why do they all stare? You made me into a pariah because I wouldn't lie. You made me an outcast because I wouldn't be your little bitch. Huh. Your little bitch. Huh. You made me a liar because you all lied.
Shotguns are out.
And now I'm not going to listen. Not anymore. I made you into a scarecrow. You tame the alligator with your machine gun. All the lilies of the field were dead 'cause of you. Lie, lie.
Greetings in the name of the Most High. Oh gosh, there's a lot to say today. If there's a dull noise, it's because I'm in the studio and this thing. It's not this, but the computer or the disk are kind of whirring. Even though I'm doing this on another computer and a laptop, the studio is still on, so there could be this sound. I don't think it'll be bad. Anyway, so yeah, okay. So I've got to get into a lot of. I know a lot of people have a sugar high from Trump being elected, and it's all nice, and there'll be change. And what I wanted to achieve has already been achieved. There's already been almost the equivalent to a ceasefire in the Middle East with Israel and Hamas, in the Ukraine, Zelensky, Putin, all seem to be, anticipating the Trump presidency and then a time of peace. And so I'm just really happy that people are not being killed right now. I know that the other side likes to kill people. They like war. And I just want to say a few things about them because I want to talk about, first thing I want to talk about is there's so much to talk about, my head's exploding. But the first thing I want to talk about is the hatred. Not that I ever underestimated, but the hatred of the satanic, which I would call the American and globalist left, which isn't about the fighting the oppressor, fighting the powers that be. They are the powers that be. They are funded by the powers that be, by the trillionaires, by the wealthy international corporations and individual families. They are connected to the satanic secret societies. It's all one thing. They are the oppressor, but they believe that everybody else is the oppressor. Now, here's what's dangerous, and here's what's happening. Okay, so many of them now want to fight anyone that voted for Trump, they're calling for the death of all MAGA people now. And they're saying they would gladly lose their own life if it meant they could kill us or anybody that would fight, anyone who would fight the real oppressor or the real establishment, because that's what they are. These kids that think they're in some noble fight for communism, they represent the establishment. The kids that think Trump's going to take away their trans rights or their abortion rights or whatever stupid, fucked up thing they think they're doing, don't realize that they are owned as slavery by the globalist, elitist left that tried to seize power through COVID. And that's why you see so many of them still wearing masks today. It's because they identify with their leaders. They identify with their owners who own them. And so the play they're making now is they're trying to gin them up for, somebody said they started it. Yes, they started it. And they're going to keep on going with their violence. And they are the original fascist, and they're the Nazis and the fascists and the communists and whatever, the Marxists, the Bolsheviks, the Jacobins, whatever you want to call them. But they are that group, and that group doesn't give up. So while they think they're being noble, and they're funny that some of them made the joke that say, "You people in MAGA, you've never read a book." It's they're going off the thing that many people that voted for Trump don't have college degrees, and somehow that makes them inferior. These people are so arrogant, I don't think they would win any war that they would wage, but they're certainly trying to gin it up. All the demonstrations you see are all fake. Everything that you see about they're demonstrating against Trump taking away their abortion rights. And one person said they want to paint their face blue like Braveheart and go charge the oligarchy or whatever. And it's like, no, honey, the oligarchy is you. They pay you. They bus you to the Kamala Harris rallies. They bus you to the border. They put you out in a march. They hand you signs to picket with. So it's completely backwards, but they're ignorant. The more they stay in school, the more ignorant they get. School equals ignorance, right? College equals ignorance, because it's diseducation. It's what it is, and I know there's a lot of you that agree with this, but you're not able to articulate it like I am, and that's why I'm stepping into this role of speaking about it, because we have to understand what the enemy is. The enemy thinks they're fighting the great oppressor. That's what they're told. And the oppressor is Trump, who is stupid, and all the stupid MAGA people. And they're taking away the rights of a free democracy. And they're taking away democracy from good people that make this country work, according to Jimmy Kimmel, and along with tears. And we've been here before. They're the only party that cheats. The Democrats are the only party that cheats. They say the Republicans cheat. The Republicans don't cheat. If the Republicans did cheat, they would be caught because they are the ones that flood the polls with lawyers and everything else. This is the first year that the Trump team has flooded the polls with lawyers and watchers so that they're getting caught. They're not catching everything on the cheat, but they're catching a lot of it. And right now they're making a play for the Congress because they figure if they can get the Congress, and if they can cheat, they would have to get it. They have to cheat. They figure you got Trump, so you're not going to say anything. And if they got the Congress, they would be able to block Trump at every turn. Now, the other thing is Trump resistance. That's the other movement that just started. And you've got to know something about Trump resistance. First of all, Trump resistance has nothing to do with Trump, nothing to do with Make America Great, nothing to do with people that supported Trump, nothing to do with Republicans. It has to do with them and the way they're programmed. They're programmed to find the oppressor in anything. It could be they could invent the moon as the oppressor, and they could pick it against the moon. It's on that level of insanity. The problem is now they're willing to die to get their objective. And there's, as we found with terrorism, there's not much you can really do with that. That's a really horrible thing. I can tell you what Trump wants to do, what's happened already. Like I say, the peace breaking out in the Middle East. I know the liberals hate peace breaking out because they love war and they hate peace. I understand that deeply. Okay, so the hatred of the right, as they call them, the right white supremacists, which again is bullshit. The only racist I know in the room are the people on The View or whatever, who keep, whenever they call people racist, they're really being the racist. They're excluding people from society. So it's real simple to see their indoctrination, what they're doing. And it's all for corporate interests and big money. Everything they do and say is for big money. War, big money. A race war, calling people racist, dividing the country, big money. And it's completely evil and it's completely backwards. But you cannot reason with them. You cannot reason. They say, well, we can't reason with you. And the MAGA people have never opened a book. I contend they've never opened a book. One guy said he's college educated, so he knows about the Constitution. And I think it was Charlie Kirk or somebody asked him, what's the 14th Amendment, and didn't know. And so that's what you're dealing with, that level of hypocrisy and arrogance, which is very dangerous. And they want to let those people loose. Just like all the immigrants coming in is about war. It's about eliminating the useless eaters, having a new country with new people that are trained to be obedient slaves, period. End of report, period. So what I've noticed is that the people, say MAGA people, there's a lot more involvement. Pardon me if I'm leaning back, I'm trying to get a comfortable position here. But they're volunteering to be poll watchers. The lawyers are volunteering to get involved and to hit every poll, and they've done a good job. But now, like I say, the steel is on for the Congress because they figure with that they can resist everything Trump wants to do. What does Trump want to do? Well, he wants to rebuild New York, make it a glistening, beautiful city again. He wants to bring factories here for jobs, especially cars. He wants to bring peace to the Middle East and to the Ukraine. He wants to thwart all the globalist, George Soros plans, all that stuff. He's done an incredible job at bringing Hispanic men kind of into the fold, because Hispanic men are not going to go for the transgender movement or the boys competing in girls' sports, and actually, Hispanics are really rooted, many of them, in Catholicism and morals. Just there's places they won't go, and wherever the Democrat Party has gone, many won't go. And I predict that the Democrat Party will lose all Hispanics very soon, because the cultures are just two different things now. One is an experiment based on depopulation, transgenderism, and the replacement of carbon with silicone for the ultimate, victory on Earth. The sort of, well, we've talked about that for years, so I'm not going to go into that now. But the difference now, I see a spirit in the people that used to be walked on, like in the 2018 midterms. I remember I told people, you can't let them cheat. You're going to be stuck with this globalist plan to this overthrow of America and this bringing in of globalism and whatever. And then they brought in, right after the 2018 midterms, they brought in COVID as a ploy to lock everything down and to shut everything off and to get control. They didn't just do it here. They did it in the EU, Australia, New Zealand, China, all over the world. And they failed because evil, well, not only does nobody want it, but evil tends to run out of steam. It's weird. Evil just tends to fail, and that was, ending humanity is going to fail because God is real. And God has I don't know, put a fire in the belly of the, whether you call it the MAGA movement or the, I like to call it the free speech movement, because there is no free speech in the Democrat side. It's all, if you say the wrong thing, they will cancel your ass. They're on pins and needles, walking on eggshells, and they can't say anything. They have to toe the party line or they're out. They're out of everything, including the jobs, whatever they had before, and then and then possible indictments. Right now, there's blame going around about Biden and Kamala Harris, and that was just what I said it was. It was just basically a inside coup d'état based on egos, like George Clooney wanted to throw Biden out and put Kamala Harris in, and they wound up with a huge disaster because the policies they have appeal to no one. I don't want war. And I told people, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm voting for peace. And you know what? Trump's not even inaugurated yet, and peace is breaking out. I feel like I've got my money's worth. I feel like, what's wrong with that? Democrats, leftists, globalists, independents who hate Trump and and want to kill all MAGA people, when the goal here is to have a world at peace. And the goal is also, when you add Elon Musk into the mix, which is brilliant, is like the focus starts going on to Mars and other places, and exploration and innovation and progress toward humanity seeing what there is out there, expansion in many realms of what you might call innovation. Now, when Tesla was around, they took his ass out. I mean, they didn't want that innovation. They didn't want people escaping to Mars. They didn't want people going to the moon. They didn't want people finding a new life, being a pioneer. And so now we have in the arts people that think that the left, the communist left, is like they were in Spain in the 1930s, overthrowing the evil capitalists who have taken all the money and cause the poor people to be poor. That is not that is not the paradigm anymore. What it was in the 60s was that they wanted to end the war in Vietnam. And they said, give peace a chance. And it was all the artists and all the rock stars and everybody was writing songs all about, a new way to live, through Satan, which is, but we don't mention Satan's name. It's just, I found a new way to live, Mother Nature's going to get us all, whatever, the cryptic lyrics, but it all was a nod and a wink to Satan, the god of reason. And so that's who owns their asses. And now he's getting ready to do a suicide club, and then of course anything goes wrong if there are, whatever the problem is. If MAGA people get killed, then it's Trump's fault. If these different cults that are springing up right now, the head shaving and no sex with men, blaming men that voted for Trump for all their problems, so they're going to shave their head and not have sex. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. They should be ashamed, not of the act that they did, but of their stupidity. Talk about who never read a book. They never read a book. And talk about the uselessness of college education. It's only there for indoctrination. It's not there to teach anybody. When I went on my reading escapade, which went on for years, I did it outside the college. I had to, because they weren't teaching me. So I delved into books and libraries and things like that, and just tore it up. And I was reading every day for hours and hours and hours. And, I became quite a bookworm at that time. And I've also authored books. So by being uneducated, if you mean me, I am not uneducated. Right. But I mean, if they being stupid and meaning me, I'm not stupid. I want peace, because if we go nuclear, I'll be dead. So I'm voting in my best interest, which is to bring peace to the world. It doesn't matter how brusque Trump's attitude. It matters not what he says, but what he does. Remember, like in fiction, it doesn't matter what the character says at all. It matters what the character does. And that's what tells the story. And, I can solve it for the whole world in 5 minutes, but they're not listening much to me. So, it's some of the blame has to go with the educational system, which is not educational. It's diseducational. Teaching, speculative science about genders and things like that, which we all know is wrong. For example, the Democrats lost a lot of Hispanic people, mainly because the Hispanic people believe in two genders. It's like, and common sense and, hard work. They think they're going to have this communist utopia. There is no utopia coming. They're not going to be paying people an income. They intend to get rid of people to save the earth, whatever. That's not the reason. That's all a ruse. Those are all lies. They're doing it for themselves. They don't want humanity around anymore, so they want to eliminate them. And that's as far as it goes. That's as deep as it goes. They have no feeling about people. They hate people. And I would contend that the people on the left hate humanity, but hate anyone who differs from them. I could not vote for more war with Biden and Zelensky and keeping that whole thing going. I can't. There's no way that I'm a peacemaker. I want to see peace. I don't want war. So therefore, I have a vote. Even if my vote doesn't count, I'll at least go through the motion of voting for peace, which I did. And now thank you very much. And you're welcome, because peace is breaking out long before the inauguration. But all they can do is think about resisting Trump, hating Trump. Like, resistance is noble, brother, because they're going to bring in what's fair, socialism, communism, and it's fair, and a fair wage for a fair day of work and all that, and taking care of everybody, and we're all one, and we're going to overcome these evil oppressors. Well, what they mean by evil oppressor is they mean freedom. They mean business owners. They mean people that want to seek, a better life for the immigrants that might come here to seek a better life, to work harder and have, some kind of a chance. The communists have never given anyone a chance. All they do is kill people. I mean, I've got the big black book of communism over here. I've read it several times. It's horrifying how many people wind up dead. And the left cheers it on. I watched no fewer than about 10 TikToks today where the unhinged I guess, college kids, for lack of, were either they were screaming like they've been hurt, they need help, or screaming that they want to kill anyone that's Trump supporters. And then I said, well, on one of the posts, I said, FBI, anybody? And no, the FBI is not going to arrest them. If you said, I want to kill these people, which we don't say, we believe they need prayer. I'm not going to go in a contest with someone it's pathos. It's a weird irony. These people are crippled. You know what I mean? They don't have common sense. They're crippled. They need prayer. They need to wake up. They need to understand that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I mean, they've been coddled for a reason. And the same thing goes with celebrities. I'm very happy to say that most celebrities are being told to fuck off and go away and quit lecturing people from their superior position on how great they are and how we should all follow what they do. They're in no position to lecture anybody about anything. What they had to do for their fame and fortune to make hundreds of millions of dollars a year, whatever it is they make, millions of dollars a year, it comes with a cost. And that's a cost that no Christian would want to pay, because Christians don't believe in hurting other people to advance themselves. It's like, we're here temporarily, and we suffer here because we're not included in all their, shenanigans. But again, I don't want blood money, and if I do have blood money just by happenstance, then I want to try to turn it into good money. You know what I mean? I want to do something positive. I don't want to, be rewarded for hurting people or looking the other way. I mean, here's what the left does. The left are the human traffickers. Okay, it's pretty well established. And so all those people, all those governors, all the police know about it. All the fire, the guy at the 7-Eleven knows about it. Everybody knows that they're the ones that disappeared those kids. So I'm voting also for the children to be freed. When Trump was in office, years ago, he had January as the interdiction of human trafficking month. The whole month dedicated to breaking up slavery, traffickers, child sex traffickers, which is the biggest. I mean, that's worth that's worth more than all the companies in Silicon Valley combined every year. Kids. That's right. And what happens to the kids? And another reason that they organize the troops against Trump is because Trump just said it like it is. He said, they're probably dead by now. Well, see, he knows something that the public doesn't know. That, it's like when we did the documentary, we had, some people on there. I don't want to get into blaming anyone, but they say, that was all satanic panic. They've never found any evidence, blah, blah, blah. There is no evidence. All the evidence is dead. Understand? Anybody that even talks about this stuff has a risk of getting a bullet in their head. Period. And so people don't talk about it. They're afraid. They're afraid. But anyway, the human trafficking and modern day slavery is the biggest organization in the world is the U.S. government. And then they're the ones that hire all the cartels. They don't work with the cartels. They're in partnership, let's say, with the cartels and with other governments and, whatever. It's a big business. That's the huge club, and you're not in it. It's the pedophile club. But it's not about, people think, oh, it's about pedophilia. It's all about, abusing children. No, it's about murder. As you heard Trump say, the kids are probably dead. If they go trying to find them, they might find 10,000 here or 10,000 there, but the bulk of them are gone. Well, you want in the club, you got to maybe, have sex with kids and then cut their throat. I mean, and have it on tape. And so they don't say anything. So there are no whistleblowers, because a whistleblower's whole family gets killed. It's evil that just has a grip on the earth. They've had this system in place, this world order, for thousands of years. Thousands. The Bible is very clear in Matthew 18:6. Anyone that hurts children should have a millstone around their neck and be drowned at the bottom of the sea. There is nothing about redemption or forgiveness or salvation for them. So a lot of people cross that line and then they figure, well, they're just going to go to hell. There's no way back. Once you start hurting kids and then you also become a warmonger. And in war, they kill whole villages of fathers, mothers, kids, the whole bit. They don't care. To them, it's fun. They enjoy killing. They like war. They like killing. They like stealing. They like cheating on elections. They like, evil, the dark side, whatever. That's it. And I probably said some things here I shouldn't have said, but anyway. I'm tired of explaining the system over and over and having people not understand what I'm saying. And I understand it's very hard to understand that, your whole life you have fed into this system because they've paid you. And now you're afraid to say anything because you'll lose your paycheck. I understand. I fully understand that. I had, but that also makes you evil. And it makes you not really acceptable in God's eyes because, you're connected to evil. And the only way to get disconnected from evil is to be separated from it. And the only way to be separated from it is you can't separate yourself. I can't separate myself. It's the blood of Jesus that separates us, but we're truly separated. And of course, that's why they want to kill you, because you're separate. And they just can't stand that. They'll say it's because you're taking away their rights. You're taking away their democracy. What it is what's inside you, I hate, and I want to kill you. And I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. And so when kids get involved in the satanic side of things, they do kill people, in order to get up the ladder. It's very clear what the Bible says about the world being owned by Satan. But they're wrong when they say that Satan is the God of reason. Maybe the God of reason for fallen angels, but there's no God of reason for humanity. Satan's job is to keep humanity stupid, dumb fucks, idiots. Do you ever see any of them have any interest in more advanced sciences or advancing technology or advancing our, the pioneer spirit into other planets or whatever it is? No. They just want to sit here and stop people from advancing. Stop. What's the Trump thing they're doing? Trump resistance. The word is resistance. How stupid can you be? What a dumb word that is. That means they never were progressive. They were always retarded. Always about stopping and preventing progress. It's Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged all over again. Book I read several times. I feel I need to read it again. It's frustrating. The gas price is $35 a gallon. It's like, Ayn Rand is like, Ayn Rand is like, she'll see the logical, sort of end of all this stuff, of where it all leads, and where the deep state, the Democrat Party, the globalists, the socialists, the Marxists, the Jacobins, the revolutionaries, whatever, they're not fighting the noble fight for the goodness of man. It's not something to be lauded in the arts. It's the opposite of what the arts are for. You lose your life if you talk about some of this stuff. So there would be a hero. That should be written about. That should be the next movie you see. But no, because they can't do it. So what they do is come up with a lame thing like pre-programming, like Civil War, to show you that the bad guy is Trump in the White House and we need a black woman to kill him. And that's the whole point of the war. it's Trump all the way. So I'm interested to see where God's going with this, because it's what I've seen this man do. I've never seen any man do. And if people were honest, they would, even the enemy who hates him, they would have to give it up that could they have gone through all that lawfare and all that harassment and all that shit? And they're independently wealthy, didn't have to do it. But could they have survived it all to actually become president again? Getting just about shot in the head and coming up with a fist pump? Show me one. Show me one of them. Anyone. Pick your rock stars, your athletes, your brainiacs, all your people that, are all the dumb fucks that say they're from Harvard or Stanford University or MIT, and they're going to tell you what is, and they don't say anything, but they just spew a bunch of shit. You know why? Because they're not allowed to say anything. Because the whole goal is to resist, to stop any progress, to stop democracy, real democracy, which is basically a republic is what we have here that they don't like, and they like democracy, i.e. mob rule. You'll never hear them say any republic. They always say democracy. Have you noticed that? So they're walking into a buzzsaw because the people they're attacking now, Black people, Hispanics, the bulk of the country, they're saying they all need to die. They all need to be killed. And, at the very top, I'm probably hoping they can release a virus or something that will kill all these people. They don't seem to care about their own lives. Many of them today were ready to pick up arms and just go charge a MAGA rally and start shooting people. The FBI does nothing because they're too busy programming them to do just that's what they want them to do. That's evil. And what we were trying to do is, what we're all trying to do here is bring a world of goodness and have a safe world to raise your children, not have the threat of the specter of war and World War III. Certainly, they were planning on having a draft, and they wanted to draft equally men and women this time around. And they had it all. That was part of the plan of the war in Ukraine, and it just wasn't popular. And it kind of got delayed, and now it's kind of in the fuzzy area in the background. But they were trying to, trying to draft American citizens, not migrants, not illegal immigrants, but citizens to go and die in a war that had nothing to do with them, but has everything to do with money laundering. And so it's, that's the truth anyway. So I've just would say that at this point, folks, you're going to have to be like the wise virgins, okay? And keep your lamp oil going and keep prayed up. Prayer is everything. You saw we had a wall of prayer during the election. They really didn't think that Trump was going to win it. They really thought he would lose. And when they were mad that he lost, they're mad they don't get to murder you. They're mad they don't get to have war. They're mad they don't get to have crony capitalism and food lines. I mean, they long for the days of a Great Depression or another COVID thing or something where people have to be gotten in line and put masks on and stay at home or they get, arrested or shot. That's the world they want. That's their freedom. And, they don't even know what I just said. They would say, oh, that's wrong. And it's like, okay, so which one of you women is protesting that you want to kill all Trump supporters because they're taking away your freedom? So what freedom is it that they've taken away? Locking people up, enemies list. Yes, there's a list of criminals who have broken the law over the past few years and gone unadjudicated that need to be adjudicated. Yes, but is there a plan for mass roundup of I don't know, what do you call them? Satanic liberals, whatever. Is there a plan to do that? No, there's no plan. There is not a plan. When there was Rex 84 during Reagan, 1984 with Reagan, that was like a whole different thing. It was not about rounding up Joy Behar and throwing her in a concentration camp. Freedom of speech is very important. Joy Behar should be able to have her say, even though I completely disagree with it. We used to say we would fight for the right for Joy to have her say. She wants to call Trump a Nazi and do all this stuff and name calling. How'd that work on the election? Turn people off. But be warned. The people that are part of the movement, of the resistance movement, are dangerous, and they will kill you if they can. I mean, not all of them, but I mean, there's quite a few hotheads amongst them that I've seen just from my Twitter X sample of people. They seem, ready to go to war against people that meant them no harm whatsoever. And I don't see any policies that have any harm in them, that are taking their right to have abortions or anything else. What are the other rights? Gay marriage, trans rights. I think there's a need to interdict on enslavement. You shouldn't enslave kids by, in my opinion, by chopping off their genitals, saying that you can tell they're really a girl or a boy just from the way they're acting, so they need the genitals cut off. That just there's no science in the world that would indicate that. And if people want to make a change, they should do it on their own as they're mature enough to make that decision, because that's a life decision. You do that to a little kid, they come of age and they wonder where their penis is, and they don't have one, and they can't have children, they can't have a family. And then, a lot of people end up committing suicide for things like for being railroaded into that kind of thing. And you won't ever see a God-fearing person do any of that to anyone. It's only them. And for a lot of years, Republicans especially were weak. They were watered down by rhinos, by people like Mitt Romney, which are, by John McCain, by the Bush family, by people that are just robber barons. But they were in cahoots with people on the other side. Now it's not like that. So if you tell me the noble thing for the arts is to fight for communism, for fairness for all people, take away the rich man's money and give it out to the poor and do a big Robin Hood thing, I'd say, yeah, in theory, that sounds great. There's a lot of people that just don't need the kind of money they've made. They've really either lucked out or they've just been in a position to make so much money it's obscene. And so from that, I would say that, business, capitalism, commerce, things like that, there needs to be, some referees and some rules and, and whatever to try to keep it fair. But once you go to communism, where there's a group of billionaires who decide what job you're going to have and how much money you're going to make, and if you step out of line, they will take your digital money and cut it. That's really evil. That's not utopia. That's not fairness. That's like, I can't even tell you. The other thing that struck me as, incredibly ignorant on the part of the left was that they think Trump was going to cut, Social Security and entitlements when in fact he was really trying to do the opposite, getting more out of Social Security, and also giving people like, if you take care of your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, your father, whatever, who's old, like someone like me, you get a tax credit for that. And I felt that was almost sounds like a Democrat doing that, doesn't it? That would have been a big Democrat thing. So this new formation, it's like a combination of Democrat, Republican philosophies, or the best out of each, which is what would be the best for people. It's still flawed because we're flawed, and we can't have a perfect system. But I don't think that murdering everyone is the answer. I don't think that global war is the answer. I don't think launching fake pandemics so you can lock people down and tell them how to behave, I don't think that's the answer. Those are fascists, totalitarians, warmongers, thieves, criminals, cartels, criminal cartels, traffickers, human traffickers, sex traffickers, slave traders. How many people in Washington, D.C. are slaves? Most of them. They're slaves. Right now, tonight, what they're wondering while we're having this nice little chat, they're wondering how in the hell they're going to get out of this. At what point do they get out? And the answer is, you can't. You see? And I know how they kill you. They wait till you go into the hospital for a little visit and say, oh, he died from a sudden heart attack. So sorry. Who was it that just died? One of our, for us in the horror genre, and I'm just a dabbler in the horror genre. I'm not really horror. I'm more drama, more, I don't know. I can't define myself, but I'm not really a horror guy. But Tony Todd, remember the original Candyman? And he's been in tons and tons of B movies and horror movies. He just died. We're the same age. He's 69 years old. He just died. Just boom, gone. So I want to have a little rest in peace for Tony Todd. I had intended at some point I wanted to work with him, and I had met him online, and it's just shocking to me. I mean, I got to take time out to grieve a little bit because he was a guy that, I saw him in a couple of crime dramas. He was terrific. So, there goes another one. But can I just have some influence on the arts, please? The arts is about truth. It's about that search for truth. It's about the noble thing is to show. I mean, if you're really butthurt about society, is to show what's wrong with it. For the film that we did, Society, I have quite a few communist not newspapers, but magazines and online magazines have interviewed me and interviewed Brian and all the people involved in it because they feel it's speaking to them. So one of the themes that I'm very involved in is rich versus poor and the class system. And of course, my heart, I don't think that we should have anything like that. The biggest class system I ever saw, though, was in Hollywood, where they use those velvet ropes to keep you out, right? When you go to a screening and there's an after party or whatever, there's a velvet rope to keep you from not mingling with the A-listers, right? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Isn't that awful? And they're all Democrats. Isn't that terrible? Such hypocrisy. Shouldn't it be everybody's allowed? And then they're saying, like the immigrants, they're willing to die to keep the immigrants coming, which would end up replacing them. But they're willing to die for their right to, for the open borders. And there's no such thing as a country with open borders. That's an oxymoron. There's no such thing as a country. There are no countries with open borders. None in the whole world. So right there's a sickness and evil. And they want to die for that. They want to die for the unknown immigrant who wants to kill them and take their place and take their house. The Chinese are even further ahead in terms of hating us and wanting to kill us. They have already used Google Earth to pick out their homes. Oh, don't worry. It's the one you're living in. It's this house here. You got a house somewhere you're living in. You own a house. You built a house. They've already figured it out. They're going to get you. They're going to kill you. They're going to move in. When the balloon goes up and they do their invasion, their Red Dawn. That's on the books. That's on the docket. And, you think they're going to just let Ukraine go after How much have we spent? Almost $1 trillion on all these wars. They're not going to back down off that and let Trump just have peace. So my voice means nothing online. Everybody is against me because they feel that I am a warmonger. Me who votes for peace. Me who wants to work it out. Me who wants to use diplomacy. That I'm a warmonger. I'm somehow keeping them from their utopia. I am also taking away their right to be free and to have their whatever it is their sex, their abortions, their whatever it is, their social their social how can I put it, libertine ways, of being able to be with who you love, even if it's children. All of that. There's nothing really stopping them from. I mean, there may be something stopping them from children, but I guess they feel like those rights are going to be taken away, and if they have had sex with minors, that they're going to be rounded up. And so that's a lot of the fear and paranoia you see is because people have been living lifestyles that are not exactly. They're falling into that area judicially of abuse, and they want to be able to abuse their children. And abusing children is a very it's among the elites. There's a purpose to it. Abusing the children is to prepare them for the real world, which is a world based on abuse. See, that's what I didn't like about the whole Menendez documentaries. I've seen 3 of them, and we have some parallels. It's interesting, and I hope to talk to them, maybe when they get out, or, arrange some kind of a podcast or something. And I want to ask them if they feel that the father and mother were protected in the courts when they got, thrown in the slammer and throw the key away and blah, blah, blah. Were they protecting the network of pedophiles in Beverly Hills, in Los Angeles, in the world? Were they protected? Because the whole world's based on that. That's the the fuel that runs everything, right? The adrenochrome fuel, the fuel that runs it. And were they dealing with a system that, because they were complaining about being abused publicly, were they now under threat of being killed by the network as well as the father? Could that have been one of the reasons that they went and bought shotguns and blew their parents' heads off, or whatever they did, bludgeoned them to death with shotgun? That's what it looks like to me, but I don't think they're aware of the vast, I don't think from what I've seen, they haven't awakened to the way the world really is. And if you think it's just an isolated case up on Elm Drive where they live, and where I went through my trauma was also Elm Drive. It's very weird. It's like 3 houses apart, a different era. But yeah, Beverly Hills is just like anywhere else, like New York or Hollywood or whatever. It's all run on these sort of nods and winks and are you in the club? Interestingly enough, the anti-Trumpers have now shaved their heads, the women, and they're not going to have sex. They're getting these little heart tattoos, kind of like like Nazis. And I wonder if they understand all the mistakes they're making, all the hypocritical mistakes of basically doing things like Nazis did. They were saying that one of them was saying that the Trump people don't deserve to live. They need to be rounded up, put in camps, and then executed. Well, we've seen this before, folks. So the noble thing would be to fight against it, wouldn't it? But see, the arts is already a mafia. And it's based on, okay, so the libertine aspect, drugs, sex, perversion, children, anal sex, blah, 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 and blah, decadence, all that. This is where the artist is fighting to defend that perversion, fighting against God is what is the noble thing for the arts. And that is, that is not the way to truth. That's the way to resistance and retardation of progress. The real artists, many of them wound up in jail. Do you hear them championing Solzhenitsyn, who talked about freedom, who was fighting against the Russians? No, not as much as he should get credit for. And there's do you hear people that are going to interdict and rescue children from the cartels? Do you hear them lauded in the arts anywhere? No. Do you see? No. You get something like, okay, I'm just going to make up a story right now. Okay, a poor Mexican girl struggling to take care of her family. Husband's gone. Comes up to the U.S. and has gets involved in politics and trying to have a better life, and ends up in a struggle with the feds, and she's just trying to take care of her family, and because of an evil oligarch like Trump, and bad policing, she gets gunned down, or she forms a lesbian relationship, and she's raising children and gets blamed for child abuse, and then her life destroyed. She commits suicide, and it's shocking, and it's all the fault of these right-wing bigots that wouldn't leave her alone. Now you see that would be gold. Call it Marta the martyr. Poor girl from Mexico. Not enough food to feed her kids. Husband's killed by the cartels. And by trying to do the right thing, she ends up one day, there's no bread, there's no cereal, there's no food, there's nothing on the shelves. So she steals some food to feed her family. And she gets gunned down in the process by these evil guys with, white guys with flat tops and running around with machine guns up and down in a time of martial law. And then we have to throw in the racial component. It's because she's brown. She's brown. So she's got to be, oh God, she's brown. We got to gun her down. She tried to steal some bread. She tried to steal some Spam. She tried to feed her family. So she got gunned down. I mean, that's how much compassion these Trumpers have. I mean, it's terrible. We either get them or they're going to get us. Hence, the war begins, the Civil War. But we got bigger fish to fry. You can't let the Ukraine thing go. We need Putin to launch the nukes so all the Americans die, including me and you, so that we can have a depopulated Earth for the good of the planet, because we've trashed the planet. And so another great movie would be, people trying to live in an ecosystem, and they're trying to do everything right with the soil and the this and the that, but they really decide that not only is carbon evil, but trees are evil, carbon's evil, and they need to make a transition to silicone. And they start the process, but unfortunately, many of them die on their way. So they finally decide to create a matrix in the digital world and euthanize each other so that they can join up with their avatars and live forever in peace. No, mind you, if I went with a story like that, I would be a hack, But if James Cameron goes with that story, he's a hero. If Ridley Scott goes with that story, he's a hero. Okay, so the last part of this is this. I'm coming up on the hour, so stay in the kind of prayer you were in, that wall of prayer during that election. People all over the world were praying because they know that if they don't get a change, they won't be here. They know they're going to be killed. We all know this is it. And so I would say, even though they try to make you mad, you see them on Twitter, you got to train yourself to do this. You might see someone on a rant and you go, hey, brother, hey, sister, is there something may I pray for you? And they may, yell at you and call you a bigot and tell you should go kill yourself and whatever else. But at least you said it, and there's nothing stopping you from praying for that person, from seeking God's advice on what to do in that situation. I think we'll realize that just fighting and yelling and screaming that's what they do. This is not the way. But when you bring in the supernatural and the power of prayer, that really changed things the last couple of weeks. I'd say, what a powerful weapon. I mean, that changed everything. The whole vibe of the earth changed. And everything changed. And I don't think I can tell you this, in this cycle that we're in, good will out over evil. And, I don't know how much pain is going to be on the way of that, but that's what's being indicated right now. This is not the time of the very end of the great wrap up of whatever else. It seems to be another beginning. And the thing is I guess I began as kind of a libertarian. I'm not a member of any political party, but I don't want to die. I don't want my friends to die. And we still have dreams, to follow if we can, and even at whatever age we are. I find if I just sit there in old age waiting to die, I think I would rob myself and the world of something. So no, I'm going full steam ahead, and I'd like there to be a world. If there isn't, then that's God's decision. Who am I to argue with that? You know what I mean? If the plug's pulled, the plug's pulled. That's it. But we got to pray for them, because you can't, and the default position is this: you can't argue with them. They think they're right. They think they're superior to you. They think you're uneducated, and they think you shouldn't even talk because you have no idea that, one of the people, I think it was Waltz's, Waltz, the vice president, what's his name? Tim Waltz's daughter got in the media, and she's scowling at the camera saying, America doesn't deserve Kamala. I know a lot of the stuff I laugh, but it's not funny, folks. In the end, it's not funny. That kind of delusion is very dangerous, because that's where you do get that hothead shooting up the whatever, the mall or whatever, the school. One reason they want to bring this chaos to Earth now is because they've already squandered all the money. So they have no way to recover the economy. They're playing a shell game. They can't bring themselves to tell us all they're broke, and we're broke. So that's one thing that's going on. But at the same time, Trump has a plan to rescue that brokenness with alternate currencies. And I think that's a splendid idea, to grow out of it, not just throw your hands up in the air and give up and say we're broke and we screwed all you people, so come at us with the pitchforks. No, they will never allow themselves to be gone after with pitchforks. They will always have a scapegoat to blame, and right now that's Trump, or anyone that ever voted for Trump, or conservative. They believe that the United States was ill-founded. It should be unfounded. It should be overthrown. and a new communist regime should be put in its place, meaning the wealthy billionaire oligarchs will tell you what to do because they'll run the government. That will be your government. Very greedy people, greedy capitalists, mostly white. The people you say you hate, leftists. The better thing would be if the leftists would wake up and realize they're all being duped and being used. But see, we know that if we've been around a while. We understand there is nothing under the sun that can solve our problem other than Jesus. You end up without Jesus, I wouldn't be here. So I got to dance with the one that brung me, right? I wouldn't be here. Without that supernatural intervention in my life, I wouldn't be here. So I owe that. And I'm not going to forget that, because I can see that when you apply the love of God to this horrible evil that we're suffering right now, this divide in our society, this hatred between people is just outrageous. I don't have any solution from man. I forgive you. It has to be supernatural. Just call on the Lord to intervene and to help us. But by Biden playing good cop, saying let's lower the temperature, I'm going to help Trump get across we're going to be very, very good for the transition of power, while he's cheating in Arizona and in Orange County, to try to control the Congress, because that would be the ultimate resistance point. I mean, you don't fool me, and if you don't fool me, you don't fool the Trump campaign and all that, and the people trying to get why conservatives, because why the House, because what Trump wants to do couldn't be done if there's people blocking him all the time. If they're blocking him in Congress, then stuff is just a stalemate, just loggerheads. And so that's the issue. What should be noble in the good fight isn't the old Hemingway-esque or Gertrude Stein, the noble communist. I mean, it's an idea, but there are people who do help other people. There are heroes out there that are worth writing about or thinking about or filming a movie about. There are, people that sacrifice themselves for others. There are, good people. There is such a thing as common sense. And maybe God has something up his sleeve, because I'm seeing how there's a lot of derisive laughter at these people when they use TikTok to go crazy, and they start pointing the finger at all Trump supporters, and the Trump supporters are laughing. But if it goes deadly, there won't be any more laughter. It'll be very serious, because then the FBI will be saying, if they're still working for this regime, they'll be saying, Trump caused this. We got to round them up, So it works on either side. But I think be circumspect and be prayed up. And this is a period here where anything can happen. And my vote is to have it be peaceful, and then have some kind of, I wish there was a way, there may be two different kinds of people, and they're like cats and dogs, and they just can't get along. We may be looking at something like that, where we're finally saying, you know what, it's maybe it's a blood type thing and a genetic thing, but there's something about that. One of the films that I'm using to teach the master class, I'm using a moment in a horror film called Angel Heart that had Mickey Rourke and Robert De Niro in it. And De Niro was terrific, and so is Mickey Rourke. They were both fantastic. And then I look at them now, I just don't have any desire to see them. They're so kind of angry and partisan and ugly, but back then in that movie, that was beautiful. It's a beautiful moment where Mickey Rourke character figures out that he got hired by this guy to go find the murderer to solve the crimes, and he He's reporting back to the guy that hired him. And then the guy that hired him says, "You're the murderer. You killed all those people." And turned out that he was just hired by the devil to go kill all those people, but he didn't know it mentally. He thought he was solving a crime. And so that's one of those great moments in cinema, even though that movie was not lauded as a great movie. Well, it was pretty great for what it was. But what I was going to say is that there was that moment was as good as anything out there. And I'm looking to show writers how to arrive at that pinnacle moment. You need more than one to really make it work. But it's called the moment of recognition, is what some teachers call it. The moment of recognition, where you recognize your part in the evil, and you didn't think. Bridge on the River Kwai was another one that I should have used, and that's when the guy realized they built that whole bridge for the enemy, not for their cause, to survive, and that a lot of people are going to get killed if the bridge they built stays there. So he had to go blow it up and take combat broke out as a result of it, and they're trying to prevent them from blowing up the bridge. But he had a dynamite thing, had one little plunger, and he was able to blow it up and stop the enemy from crossing the bridge, which would have made it a direct line to the good side, to their side. So they actually built a bridge for the enemy, but they were suffering in the prison camp. And when they started building the bridge, they had a sense of pride, a sense of good work and hard work and building a beautiful bridge. And then there was that moment of recognition. And the words were, I think from Alec Guinness, the words were, "Oh my God, what have I done?" And I just love stuff like that. I wish we would do it. I wish someone would wake up from this nightmare of hatred, is what I would call it, this nightmare of hatred, and say, "Oh my God, what have I done? I've just become, all I do is hate. All I want to do is kill Trump supporters. All I want to do is, kill the oppressor." And so that's the oppressor for now. Because why? Because the news media told me it was. And because I was engineered to hate them. I was made to hate them. And I want them dead because I was programmed to want them dead. But I need to wake up and say, "Oh my God, what have I done? I've hated you and you've done nothing to me. I thought you were going to do something to me, but you never did." Right? I hope it helps. I'm sorry. I had a whole other track I was going to go on, but maybe another time. I just, the election has been exhausting for me. It's been trying to figure out all the different, vibes and moods and shifts and swings, the change in world leaders and people and attitudes, and yet this ugly resistance thing again. It's just exactly like, back in 2016. Just it's ugly, it's stupid, it's pedantic, it's immature, it's childish, and there is no noble cause other than we got to burn it all down. That's the thing that runs it. That's the energy. It all has to be burned down. It's very exciting to burn it all down, but not one of those people is a builder. What are they going to do? It's funny when Elon Musk or somebody said that we were a nation of builders. Um, it has been that way, but then it all got corrupted. But it's going to take a lot more than building. But I don't know how you heal the breach of the hatred between the satanic and the God fearing or whatever. It's just that same war. When they crucified Jesus, the whole community knew that Jesus did nothing wrong, and still they wanted him to stand trial and go, hang on the cross at Golgotha. So well, they hated him so much because he was the Prince of Peace. He was the Messiah they've been waiting for. He was the solution. And, even now, I see Satanists posting, if you see Jesus, kill him. Or Jesus supporters should all be drowned in a swamp or whatever. You hear this all the time, and you say, well, why is this? And there is no why for us humans. The why is with Yahweh, the Supreme Father. It's an ancient war. It's the same war of the fallen angels versus the angels. It just is. And that's what you have to understand. It just is that way. And so we inherit that as humans, and we go at each other. We have wars. We have wars over, mistaken identity, thinking that he's going to take your democracy away. Well, let's kill a bunch of them. And then it's too late. We're at war. With that bid you shalom. It may, Lord, in Jesus' name, I just pray for peace. I pray for what I pray for a lot, which is peace and understanding. In Jesus' name, amen. I'll see you next time.